Record. Intro.
We are the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Cast the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the dream of Medina and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your mans, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the Craze. If you are an independent, catch the Craze. Making moves on your own, catch the Craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the Craze. Join the movement, catch the Craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the Craze. Welcome to Catch the Craze Podcast Audio Mix. I am your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Vera, and I am with
George, the dreamer, Martina.
You're so dreamy. What
I
up,
gotta tell
Georgie?
you, man, that new intro makes you want to.
Oh man, it was like,
you know what I mean? Like,
yes,
just got that. You know, it just hypes you up. Bro.
yeah, man. It's a workout joint. I swear to you, when it's a workout. I swear when I first did the track, I was working out and I just looped it during the whole workout. Just looped it because it's like a hype song. I'm excited about the new Craze.
It's longer than the old one.
Yeah,
it's longer.
It's about
a
30
minute
seconds long.
So you're in there doing your thing.
Yeah.
So it is a little longer because I know I can't hear it. I can't even see it because I'm all the way over here.
Yes.
I just see your reaction, but I can tell what you're listening to because I've heard it so many times myself. But yeah, it's definitely a little longer than the other one. So,
Yes.
but it's cool. I like it. So what's going on, Sammy? How you doing, buddy?
It's you plug into Catch the Craze. You go to the kitchen as the hype music on, and your wife's like, "Why are you dancing? Don't worry about that." Yeah, I got the Craze, and you get your coffee, and you go sit down, and you're like, by the time you come back, it's like, oh, the boys are there, and then you enjoy the party, because that's what this is. It's a party.
Are you a nighttime coffee drinker?
I drink coffee all day, bro.
Really?
Yeah, man.
You drink more than one cup. Like you'll have one in the morning.
I have
one in the
about
afternoon.
6 cups of coffee a day.
What?
So I get up at 5, right? I get up at 5.
Holy shit.
I have a banana, and I take my pre-workout drink, right? Which is a boost of caffeine, basically. I have a pre-workout drink and my branched chain amino acids, right? I wait 20 minutes. I give my dogs the snacks. I take them outside, blah, blah, blah. Then I go work out. Yeah. As soon as I'm done working out, I got that coffee pot roasting. I like, boom, got a cup of coffee. Get in the car, drive. Off of Route 17, I stop at the Starbucks. I already ordered it on my app. I pick up my coffee. God. Boom. I got a venti coffee, dark roast. Get to my office. In my office, I have an espresso machine. And so I have about 4 of those cups. Coffee.
4 cups throughout the day? 4 cups.
Additional on top of the 2 I already had. And the venti is about like 3 cups because it's the big one. Yeah. So, yeah.
See, I'm not a big fan of Starbucks coffee. I think it's a little overrated. I'm not even going to lie.
I get it. I like it because I like the dark roast. I don't get all the other stuff, the Frappalappa and all that stuff. I just get it because I just want a dark roast with a splash of skim milk, and I'm good. Sometimes I'll throw in almond milk, but I don't put sugar in anything. I just drink it like that.
It's funny. You wake up. If I wake up, I go to my work starts at 8. I wake up at 7:15. 7:15, I'm up. I go downstairs to my bodega on the corner. $1 coffee. It's just like brown water. It's disgusting, but whatever. That's the only cup of coffee I have.
Really? Nah, man. It's my bloodline.
And then I just drink a lot of water throughout the day.
My problem is I don't drink enough water because I'm getting water in the coffee. It's made of water. You know, I'm like, what the heck?
Interesting.
You know,
I don't think that's how it works. But
yeah, but I love Pete's Coffee. If you ever been to Pete's, they had a coffee shop in a couple blocks off of Times Square. It was on 8th Avenue. They had a Pete's Coffee, and they had this amazing coffee that it was so bold and rich, man. It was just good stuff. I would stop there.
Old and rich.
I take the bus to Port Authority. I walk over to Pete's, grab it, go into the subway, catch the R train down to the corporate office, and I would do that just because I want the Pete's coffee.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Coffee is, it's good stuff.
It looks like it's fundamental for you.
Yes.
But
yes.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Catch the Craze.
Episode 202.
202.
202.
Today is September 11th.
Yes.
And this is episode 202.
Yes.
We are doing it again. It's another Friday. It's another episode of Catch the Craze. If you didn't, you should tune in for that Wednesday show and that Monday show that we do every Monday and Wednesday.
Word.
And now this is the Friday show. So here we are.
You get tree.
You get tree.
Tree.
And we're here to tell you today a little bit about a few things, okay?
First.
Episode 200 came out.
Yes,
right?
200 came out.
Rebranding. Brand new logo. I made it on the logo, y'all. I'm on the logo. I'm this goofy little dude.
Yeah, yes. He's graduated. He's got a certificate of authenticity now.
Yes. So that's happened. That's happened since episode 200 aired, and now we have a Patreon, right, Sam?
A Patreon.
We got a Patreon. We
have
a Patreon.
We have a Patreon. Yes.
Get on there. We have different tiers. Check that out.
Yes. In fact,
right
now you got Ultra and Extreme on the screen promoting a Patreon.
Look at that. See, I love Ultra, man. That's my boy.
Yes.
So then we also announced on our 200th episode that we will be doing a Kickstarter.
Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Can I kick it?
Sam's brainchildren.
What?
A brainchild of Sam's. The Crazies.
The Crazies.
So now you not only catch the craze, you have to catch the Crazies.
Say what?
So that's what's up. So the Kickstarter is going to kickstart on September 26th. Okay, September 26th. Be on the lookout. We will be going live on Kickstarter.
Can you catch her? Can you catch her?
Our campaign will kick off on September 20th. Tell all your friends. Tell all your friends. And we have different tiers that we've worked out. Okay? Everybody.
Well, let's talk about that because, while, George credits me as the brainchild, but George is the orchestrator of the tiers. Explain what these tiers are, Mr. Dreamer.
Yeah, well, okay, so the tiers. We have decided, that we did a lot of research before we put this thing together.
Yes,
There's been a lot of behind-the-scenes work. We've actually been giving you some of the stuff that we've been doing, behind-the-scenes stuff, through our different videos that we've had, conversations with JD. That was part of the research for our launch, and JD has been very gracious and very helpful in this endeavor. So thank you very much, JD. Jose, you're the man.
Yes.
For helping us out.
Word.
As far as the tiers go, we have different sets of tiers, and I'm trying to find them as I'm speaking to you.
he said, put me on the spot and watch me drop it like the weather.
So here we go.
Come on.
Yeah, if I'll ever find them. Here we are. Okay, so we have different tiers for the Kickstarter. That is no secret. That's how Kickstarter works. For anybody who's never had or contributed to a Kickstarter, it's almost like a telethon. Remember those telethons?
Jerry Lewis.
Back in the 80s.
Yes.
And back in the 70s, and I don't know when they started, but that's basically what it is. It's just online. It's a crowdfunding campaign, and we have decided that Catch the Crazies deserves a Kickstarter campaign, bro.
Word.
We need to have these guys out in the universe. And so we start with the Crazy Man Reward. Okay, the Crazy Man Reward basically says your name on the thank you page will be printed for contributing to our endeavor. That's for $1. You get your name on the back page of our comic that says thank you. So that will be on there. So that's the $1 tier. Now that reward goes from 1 to 4. So anywhere between $1 and $4, if you put any of that money in there, your name goes in the back of the book as a thank you.
Right.
Then we have the Crazy Reward. Okay. The Crazy Reward will be a Catch the Crazies #1, the comic book, Catch the Crazies #1 in digital format. It's going to be a PDF. It's gonna be emailed to you. You can read it on your computer, on your laptop, on your iPad, wherever you are. You can read it. It won't be the physical copy of the book, but it'll be a PDF. Okay. That tier also includes your name on the thank you page. So you'll have your PDF and your name on the thank you page.
Yes.
Spoiler alert, every single tier is going to have your name on the thank you page, because I don't want to sound redundant. So every single one moving forward will have not just your name, but also a PDF. So you get a PDF and your name on every tier moving forward. So for $5, you start with that. $10.
Right.
The hyper crazy. Okay, the hyper crazy. Now, if you haven't already realized, the name of the rewards are the name of each crazy character in our book.
Yes.
Okay, spoiler alert. So the hyper crazy reward will be the Catch the Crazies #1 print copy. Okay, it's a printed copy of the physical book mailed out to you. Okay, for $10. Now remember, that also includes the digital copy and the thank you. Okay, every single tier will include the PDF and the thank you. So if you want to keep your Crazies copy sealed in a nice little, plastic bag, never open it for posterity because you think it's going to be worth a lot of money, you didn't have to open it because you have your PDF to read.
Right. Right.
So that's how that works. $20. We have 2 rewards at $20. You have the Super Crazy reward and the Super Crazy Part 2 reward. Okay, it's almost like the movie. So Part 1 and Part 2.
Yes.
Part 1 is Catch the Crazies #1 variant cover by Mr. Sam Vera and myself, George Medina. We're going to pick up our pencils, our inks, our coloring skills, and we're going to throw down on a cover. It's a variant cover.
Get down on it.
Limited to 25 backers at the $20 amount. So if you want to get this variant cover, again, remember, this will include the #1 digital copy and your name on the thank you. Okay, so that's going to have the variant, the digital, and the thank you, all for $20. Okay, limited to 25 backers, so you got to hurry up. Part 2 is Catch the Crazies #1 signed by us, and it's the printed copy. Okay, so that's the one that's going to be worth the money because we're going to have our signatures.
Yeah.
And you're also going to get the Catch the Crazies #1 digital copy and the name of the thank you page for $20. So you can choose either one. You want the variant cover done by us, or do you want the signed copy done by our artist, who is a very talented dude? And so you have your options. You can do either one. Remember, one has a limited amount of 25, so you got to jump on that really fast, and the other one has no limit. So you can, as many people as they want can have it. With me so far, Sam?
I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you.
All right, here we go.
This is complicated, but I'm with you.
Yeah. I mean, you may have to watch this a couple of times.
Yes.
And when the campaign goes live, it'll all make sense.
Yes.
Okay? The Ultra Craze reward, my boy with the hoodie.
Yes.
The Ultra Craze reward, okay? That is Catch the Crazies #1 printed copy and the variant cover of Sam and I, okay? It includes a Catch the Crazies #1 digital copy and the name on the thank you page. We're also going to throw in a poster for you, all right? We're going to throw in a nice little print in there. Not going to tell you the size. You'll find out when the thing goes live.
It's a print.
But there's going to be a nice little print in the package there, okay? And what I mean by print is going to be something you can hang up on your wall. It'll be a nice little piece of art, okay, from us. Now that, again, that's limited to 25 backers, guys. So get ready, get jump on that real fast. That's $30. At $40, okay, now we can start getting even crazier. This is extreme crazy. At $40, you get Catch the Crazies #1 printed copy, signed, okay? A shout out on the Catch the Craze podcast, okay? Your favorite limited edition crazy stickers. So we're going to have these little stickers of each of these little crazy guys. You get to pick whichever one you want, okay? We're also going to throw in the print, the poster, the little poster. We're going to throw that bad boy in there. And again, the PDF and the thank you on the page. So for $40, you get all of that.
Yep.
Okay? If you need me to repeat it, I'm not going to. You're just going to have to rewatch the show. And listen to what I'm saying. $40 gets you that. $50 is the next one, okay? $50. The Psycho Crazy reward. Psycho Crazy, okay? This is Catch the Crazies #1 print copy signed. Digital PDF of a behind-the-scenes book, which will include sketches, a copy of the script. Okay, so we're gonna give you a little behind-the-scene of how the book came together in PDF format. So you're gonna get that. You're also gonna get a shout out on the Catch the Craze podcast. Okay, your favorite limited edition Crazy sticker and that print that we keep talking about, plus the PDF and your name on the thank you page for $50.
Yes.
Okay. And then the final one, the final reward is the $100 reward, and that is the Dreamer reward. Okay. That reward will be Catch the Crazies #1 print copy signed, a commissioned sketch card of any character by Sam and by me. Okay. You can choose whichever you want. Catch the Craze t-shirt, a digital PDF of the behind the scenes book, which will include sketches and copy of the script and all that other stuff that I mentioned, a shout out on the Catch the Craze podcast, a set of the limited edition Crazy stickers. So now this is not just individual stickers. This is a set of all the stickers you get for $100. You're going to get the poster. It's going to have a signature on it this time, though. You're going to get a signed poster from us, the digital copy, and a thank you, your name on the thank you page. Now that's limited to 15 backers. So that's probably going to go fast. That's for $100. So for all you guys who want to support the Craze, want to catch the Crazies, these are your tiers. These are your rewards.
And these little monsters are all over the screen right now. And there's a few more. But as you can see, this is a story. If you notice, the Crazy Man was up there as well. It's a story that is about the podcasters chasing a dream, creating a nightmare, and trying to stop the madness.
That's right.
Boom!
That's right.
I tried to be as effective as George was in the pitch.
That was on the top of the dome. That was not bad.
On the top of the dome, right? Yes.
That's
So
exactly what it is.
It is full of humor. There's a rivalry going on with rival podcasters. There's the otherworld element with the Crazies. They create mass hysteria. It's full of fun and excitement. We don't want to give it all away, but you'll get the plot on our Kickstarter. We need your support. This is a passion of ours. Been working on this, and we're ready. Because of the support of the listeners out there and the support of us when we were Crazy Comics to Catch the Craze, bringing back Catch the Craze and reinventing it. We felt it was the right time to tell our story with a twist.
That's right. So the comic book you're getting is basically loosely based on our story as podcasters, as friends, as creators, as Crazy Man and Dreamer. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's the Kickstarter right now is gonna be for the first issue. It's gonna be a few issues. So we're still debating whether it be 4 or 5. Let's see where we take the story.
Yes.
But this is for the first issue, and the story continues. So hopefully, let's see how we do on this Kickstarter.
Yes.
We are going to be putting out more Kickstarters for the other issues. Obviously, it's not cheap to put out a comic book, as I'm sure a lot of you independents know.
Yeah.
It's not.
So and it's the first time I'm doing this. It's one of the things I was very apprehensive about. And but I came to terms with the fact that I can't do what I did back in the days, and and just running this show takes a lot of time and investment, and we really need your support to help us launch this. We are independent creators by nature, and this is why we do this for independent creators, and we give you a platform. So we're hoping that you're going to get on board and support the Craze and help us catch the Crazies. And it's funny, it's fun. It's there's just so much to it. I'd love to be able to spill it all out, but I want that anticipation to grow. But we'll be releasing some pages to our Kickstarter. You'll get to see some of the pages to the book. And George did a great 1-paragraph synopsis just summarizing that elevator pitch of the story. And if you don't know, go watch the elevator pitch on the Craze and 10 or Less that I did back in August. And see, I'm getting good.
You're good.
Yes. But yeah, support our Kickstarter. Support the Craze. We appreciate you. Thank you guys for helping us grow. And the indies need to unite and hold hands and grow together.
But yeah, baby. Now, enough about us, Sam.
We
do have
guests on the show.
Or guests on the show, and we also have our our segment.
Yes, Kickstarter.
Get your meds. Kickstarter. It's gonna be part 3 of our 4-part series of the interviews that I did with
JD Calderon.
JD Calderon. You were dancing. I was wondering, did you put the catch?
No, I didn't.
Thing up there? I'm like, oh, I'm talking over it, and I was like, oh, maybe I should stop.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, you would. You silly bastard. Anyway, get your meds. Let's go.
Get your meds.
It's time for your medicine.
All right, so we did the pre-work before the campaign went live. The campaign went live. We have our incentives and everything like that. What's next? Now this campaign is going. You're into day 4, 5, 6, 7. How often do you recommend doing updates for the supporters and for the backers? What's going on in the campaign?
Well, most people would suggest you're probably going to do one every 2 or 3 days. That's probably the intelligent thing to do. So again, it's not something I do. But yeah, the intelligent thing to do would be to offer up, those, because what you can do is you can engage your audience, right? And it's funny because one of the reasons I don't do it is because I like to work on the work.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the thing. I like to work on the work. I like to write. I like to create the stories, and all this other stuff is just a time sink for me. And
it pulls away. It's like a job. It is. You know what I mean? Yeah. It is.
The only difference is that I love it.
Right.
Okay. It's my passion. It's my hobby. It's my very expensive hobby.
Yeah.
Some people got trains. I got comic books. That's
Yeah, right.
It is what it is.
You build them. You create comics. That's what
exactly.
Yeah.
And so it just depends on what you want to do.
Yeah. So you should be updating them regularly. Let's just say
yes.
It should be like a regular. And what kind of updates? Like what when people say, okay, what updates are you writing? Like it's like, hey, how you doing? Hope everybody's okay. Or like what are you saying in these updates?
Well, some people like to write stuff like, we've just achieved like this goal, right? So like recently we just did an update where we just announced a stretch goal. Okay. So if we make $1,500, we're gonna give everybody like a sticker that's gonna be unique to this, and everybody's gonna get this sticker. And then if we achieve the $1,500 goal, we'll probably open up another one for $2,000, and then we haven't figured that one out just yet. But once we have, that'll go out to everybody as well.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah. So those are the types of things you definitely want to update on. So like I got a stretch goal coming, and the reason you want to send that out is because hopefully what'll happen is you'll tell your base who's already bought in, right? And you can say, look, I'm not expecting you to chip in more money. What I'm expecting from you is to please share it out on social media. Share it out to maybe some of your friends who like comic books. I don't know of anyone who collects comics who doesn't know somebody else who collects comics.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. It's like attracts alike. So you're gonna have 1 or 2 friends, even if they're just online. You understand? Yeah. You're gonna want to, just have them share it out. Yeah. And and when it comes from a fan to fan, I think it's even stronger than coming from the creator to a fan.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Because you trust your friend who's telling you to buy that book versus the guy who's trying to push that book on you. You know,
Exactly. Unless your friend is me, then all deals are
yeah,
off.
well, they're asking me to do something. I'm like, nah, I don't know, man. I'm not about that. I don't know if I'm
Exactly.
going to do that. But now these updates, are they? You can do them right on the website.
Oh yeah.
Right on
You know, you have two types. There's one that'll just go out to all your backers, and there's a generalized one where all the backers can see it, and you can access it on the campaign itself.
Oh, okay. I see. So you have specific ones for the backers, and those are the ones that you would say, for example, hey, I'm not asking you for any more money, just if you could share this, that would be awesome. Boom, and then you send that out there to them, and sometimes they'll just be like, oh, that's cool, man. Yeah, I'll do that. You know, just as a favor to you, I guess. I mean, they've already put their money in. Now, let's say there's like a lull in the amount of money that's coming in. Backers aren't really doing what they're supposed to. What are some of the things, or what are some of the strategies to boost that campaign, if any? Like, what are some of the things you can do to kind of?
Now, here's the general thing. You're going to make most of your money on your first 2 or 3 days and your last 2 or 3 days. Okay?
Wow.
Yeah. Right? That's how that works. You're making most of your money at the beginning and at the end. So that's why people have been suggesting shorter campaigns, because you end up with this lull in the middle. Yeah. Okay? So you get a big boost in the beginning.
Scary, bro. It gets scary like in the middle when you're like, holy shit, nobody's put anything in there for the last 5 days. What am I gonna do? Yeah.
Exactly. It gets very scary. So for again, mental health. You really don't want to do that to yourself. So that's why I suggest doing a shorter campaign. But during that lull, that's also where you want to set up these interviews. You want to go out, get interviewed. You understand? Shout you. Get as many people to shout you out as you can, because then this way you can, you won't see huge bumps unless, of course, you get on a ginormous channel or you get somebody famous. Neil Gaiman just comes out and be like, hey, I love this guy's stuff. Go buy it.
You should too. They're like,
exactly. There's 10 million Twitter followers or whatever the hell he has. Then you're golden at that point. But the likelihood of that is slim.
To say the least.
To say the least, exactly. Slim to none, but it is what it is.
So definitely jump on some more. I mean, like you said, that's when you go in, then you start marketing your you start doing your podcasts and stuff like that. I mean, because at this point, like you said, you become just like a spam freak, just every day you're putting stuff up there.
Exactly. And the thing is, though, is like if you're going through Twitter, if you're going through first of all, we all know Facebook is throttled as all hell. You understand? You put something up, you'll be lucky if I got 5,000, almost 5,000 friends on Facebook. If I put something up, if 20 of them see it, I'm lucky.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
First, you got the feed working against you. And then you just got them throttling you. They just won't, they won't notify nobody. They won't, because why? Because they want you to buy advertising.
Right.
That's why. Yeah. Okay. And that's one of the other things you can do. You can buy advertising and you don't have to spend a lot of money. You can just, put $2 or $3 a day, towards it. You understand? And I would definitely say, you can put $5 a day. If you do a 30-day campaign, that's $150, but you got to factor that into your core costs.
I was gonna ask you that. Yeah. So that all of that goes into what you were thinking about asking for the campaign before it even starts. You're thinking about this advertising money that you're gonna have to spend.
Yeah. If you're shelling out $150 over 30 days, you're gonna want to make up $600 at minimum for that $150. And if you don't get that kind of return on it, I don't want to say it was a wasted effort, because you can always come back and do something else, and more people will just see it over and over again. Right. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You don't want it to be a wasted effort. And on top of that, you're still going to be doing the podcast. You're still going to be doing, all the mail, and also the thing is a mailing list. So if you have a newsletter, make sure you're building a mailing list using a MailChimp or whatever service you're going to use. Those mailing lists are real important. And
those cost money too, though, right? They charge you for those now, or you can build that yourself.
No, you can build that yourself.
Okay.
I mean, it just takes time. Like one of the things that people do is like what we do is as well as like we'll give away the first 3 issues of the series. So you sign up for my mailing list, and I'll give you the first 3 issues of the series. So you're gonna get something. You're gonna get a few books for yourself. Something you can read at your leisure, and hopefully at the same time, I'll be hooking you into the series.
Right.
You understand? So you'll come and buy some other stuff. You
Sure,
understand that?
sure.
And the thing is when you have a mailing list, if you got, well, it doesn't matter how big or small the mailing list is. 2 to 3% is probably what's going to back you on that list.
Right.
So if you got 1,000 people, 30 people are going to back you.
Yeah.
Okay, somewhere in that area. So if the bigger your list, the bigger your chances of success.
Yeah. It's
okay?
a numbers game.
Exactly. You look at somebody like Ethan Van Sciver. All right, he has and there's also different platforms. If you're a big YouTube platform, he has over 100,000 subscribers. Okay, but you look at his campaign where he's raised almost $1 million. He has like almost 8,000 backers. Okay, which is a lot. But if you think of I think 130,000, YouTube followers that he has,
right, and he has 8,000 backers,
right?
Yeah,
you understand? It's like 7%, maybe 6%. He has a very good margin. Like in advertising, he would be considered, stellar. You understand? But it's still only a small percentage. He's not getting 50%. He's not getting 20%. If you think you're gonna get that, I would suggest laying off the drugs.
Yeah, get some help.
Right, get some help, because it's just I mean, look, I was young too many moons ago, right? And I remember it was like, you do convention math. Everybody does convention math, right? You go to convention, you're like, oh man, there's gonna be 50,000 people at this show. All right, we're gonna print the books. We're gonna do 3,000 of them, and all we gotta catch is like 10% of that market, man. We'll sell out.
Nah,
right? I mean, how many times?
Bring 50 books with you. That's what you
exactly. How many times? I've been to a lot of shows. How many times have you seen this mentality at work?
Oh,
how many? Yeah. How many times have I? I'm sure you've been to plenty of shows. Like, how many shows have you gone to? You've seen a dude there or a set of dudes. They got a nice big booth. They got this big setup, and they got like boxes and boxes and boxes of one comic sitting behind them. And is their first issue? They're like, yeah, man, we just got this from the printer. And it's like, how many of those you get? Oh, I got 4,000 of them. Oh, really?
Jesus, dude. Yeah. They're gonna sit in the basement, stacked up.
Right.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, and you're like, how many did you bring to the show? I brought 4,000. It was like, all right, man.
Dude, I mean, I made that mistake the first time we went out. Printed out. I mean, we didn't print out 1,000. We printed out 500. We thought we were gonna get rid of 500. Of those books. It's not gonna happen. You know what I mean? Not off the jump. But that makes sense. You talked a lot about stretch goals. Can you just explain to us what the term stretch goal is?
Okay, so basically what a stretch goal is like, so let's say your goal is $1,000. Okay, so you made your goal, right? So now of course you want to make more money, right? So you go to your fans and you say, okay, look, if I can get to $2,000, right, I'll give you X thing. You understand? And it should be something that that a fan would want, but is also reasonable for you to create. Okay, because you're not going to say, oh, if I get to $2,000, this
I'll give you the third issue.
Right. No, but this 32-page comic is now going to be a 120-page trade paperback.
Oh, right.
Okay, you don't want to go like that. You understand? You'll kill yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So what you want to do is like what we did. We said, okay, so we reach 1,500, you're gonna get a sticker. And then
so now this is do they have to put more money toward that sticker, or that's just if you reach that goal, they get that?
Reach that goal, you just get that.
For them to kind of spread the word.
Exactly. Okay. That's exactly what that is. That's why I was saying, you want to do these, send out the message to your fans. Is look, I'm doing this stretch goal. Let everybody else know. Let your friends know, so they can come in, and then you will also get this. You're gonna get your book, and you're gonna get this extra thing.
That's nice.
And a lot of people do trading cards. You could do pins. You could do like small little buttons. I've done buttons in the past.
And a lot of the stuff is like you said, it's the back stock that you have. It's the stuff that you have in the basement that you haven't been able to sell. Put that on there as a stretch goal. Make that It doesn't have to be related to what you're doing, right? It may just be a product that you have that you produce and just never moved.
Right. So like let's say that book that you have 3,000 of.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Sitting in your dungeon, right? You'd be like, well, I got right? You're like, look, I got this. It says, all right, if we get 2,000, everybody's gonna get a copy of this book because I got 1,500 of them sitting back there. So, I can force out 90 of them to my backers, or 200 or whatever, how many backers you get.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, that makes sense.
We did it. So
That was excellent.
that'll be in the
Excellent.
edits. So we're back from that. So we're back from Get Your Meds. That was again. This is the reason why JD Calderon is so successful with his Kickstarters. The guy is a wealth of knowledge. He's helped us. He's guided us through this. We don't go into anything haphazardly or blinded. We do our research and we partner with the people who are in our opinions, are the experts of the subject matter. And we're hoping to be just as successful as JD Calderon has been. But that was a great segment, and truly thank you, JD, for your support.
Absolutely, JD. And just to reiterate, there was a section on the video where we were talking about stretch goals, and I don't think we got too deep into it. There is a lot. I mean, a stretch goal, and I don't know, for anybody who hasn't done a Kickstarter yet, a stretch goal is almost it's a goal within the campaign. So let's say, for example, you want to reach $1,000. That's what that stretch goal is. Hey, if we reach $1,000, everybody gets this, So keep that in mind. Stretch goals are there to
drinks on George.
Exactly. to get our backers not to put any more money into the campaign, but to get others to come in on it, because if they come in on it and they reach that $1,000 plateau, everybody gets the goodie that's at that stretch goal. So just a little clarification on that stretch goal.
Remember that song?
It was too clear.
Remember that song? Do you want a piece of my goody, loving?
No, I don't.
You said no, I don't. Who sang that? I forgot who sang that. It was back in the days. You said goody back, and I was like, God, that's what I thought about.
And that was it. That's all it's like. You haven't done that in a while.
Yeah, I know.
You've been off this game.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute.
A minute. But so with this Kickstarter, this is like the Kickstarter show, right?
Yes.
So with that in mind, our next guest, Sam, tell me a little bit about our next guest, because I wasn't able to.
Yes, our next guest, All Star Comics, and it's the writer is Milan Kovacs, and the artist is Steve Fabian, and colorist is Tommy Varga, and basically they're very successful with their Kickstarter, and that's how they were able to put the funding together to put this project together. And you'll hear them talk about the Kickstarter, how they found each other, and their project. So we're gonna go right into that now. Waiting for the team to join.
Of course, I just sent them separately the link as well. But I guess you sent them as well. So.
Yes, I sent the invite as well. So since I have you on already, we'll start, and then as they come, we'll bring them in. So your project is pretty exciting and cool, and you had a successful Kickstarter campaign. But first, I'd like you to introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are.
Of course. I'm Milan Kovacs from Hungary, and I'm a comic creator, I can say that. I write comics and I create characters for comics and for other mediums as well, but mainly comics. And this project of ours is called All Star, and this is the first volume, but it's more like a graphic novel, because in the end we managed to do a 52-page story instead of a 40-page one.
Right. Okay. So before we get into All Star, I'd like to know a little more about you and your background and your influences. So where you grew up, what were you into as a kid?
Well, I grew up in Hungary. I was born in 1985 in Székesfehérvár, a pretty difficult to pronounce city name for foreigners. So
right.
It's pretty long and it has a lot of accents as well. So actually, My love for comics was very comes from very early in my life. So I spent a lot of time in hospitals when I was a kid because I have asthma,
Ah,
if I pronounce it right, asthma, and I had a lot of problems because of that. And every time I went to the hospital, I sometimes stayed for like a week or sometimes even more.
wow.
And that was pretty depressing for me as a child.
Right.
So every time I was in the hospital for more than like 3 days, I had to read something, and I never really liked the suggested and the must read stuff from the school.
Right.
So usually my mother bought me a pack of comics, which was on the shelves for that week or for that month, and that was of course in Hungarian at the time. It was TMNT, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Nice.
or Man, Superman, Transformers. I loved Transformers. And after that, my passion for comics somehow disappeared when I turned, I don't know, around, I turned, I think, 10 or something like that. And then I started to do other stuff.
Right.
But then in like, I don't remember exactly, but I think it was around 2009 I came back to comics, and at around 2014 I figured out that I want to do this as a profession actually, and I was really influenced by Grant Morrison's writing. So if you read All Star, and you will, because I'll send you a copy for sure.
Outstanding.
And if you read All Star, it's very obvious that I was influenced by his way of writing, his way of meta character development and story development, and the how can I say that the bridge between reality and fictionality. And I'm really impressed by the stuff he puts in his comics. And of course, I'm influenced by a lot of artists, even though I'm mostly a writer and a creator and a designer. I do graphic design as a freelancer.
Right.
I just quit my job in May, part-time at a printing company. It was a small printing company, and that really helped me developing this small publisher kind of thing. And I worked there for 6 years, so that brings us to 2014, like I said, when I started small publishing Hungarian comics here.
Right.
And at the beginning, I was only publishing other people's stuff, but I always wanted to do my stuff. So it was a good jumping. How can I say that? It was a good.
It's like a jumping point, like a launch pad.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like you said. But after that, I was like, okay, but now I want to do my stuff.
Right.
And All Star actually came from the European Union Fund. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but sometimes here there are like cultural funds you can apply to.
Right.
And this was a very collaborative fund, because it was an Armenian, Czech, Slovakian, Polish, and Hungarian collaboration.
Wow, nice.
And that's how All Star was made in black and white the first place, with Steve Fabian's art, and cover colors by Tommy Varga, who are, I hope, are joining soon.
Yeah, I don't see them yet, but yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think they think that.
Well, they're probably waiting till 12 o'clock on the dot because they still have 5 minutes.
Well, anyway, so
Yeah.
it was a dream came true with Steve and Tommy, because they both learned to draw and color comics in the U.S. And they both attended the Kubert School or Kubert School. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly.
Yes, Kubert. Yes.
Yeah, Kubert School, which is the number one comic school.
Yes.
Not just the U.S., but maybe in the world.
Yes,
so.
we've had several alumni from the Kubert School on the show.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So now you have two more. And the funny thing is, I see a kind of friendship between these guys. So I found another guy. I have no idea how to pronounce his name, so I don't want to insult him by trying that.
Right.
But he's also, I think he's a fresh graduate from the Kubert School. And he was also very supportive, and he even gave us a nice pledge on the Kickstarter. So I see this kind of family, kind of non-relation family between these Kubert School alums.
Right, right. That's pretty phenomenal. So now, did you study writing in school at all, or was this something that you learned on your own?
Well, I always had this. I always liked writing, even when I was in primary school, like, I don't know, 12, 14-year-old. But then somehow I stopped a little bit later on and went on to do photography as a profession. But then that ended as well. I'm like this, jumping here, jumping there. But so far, comics is the only thing I'm really interested in, and I invest the time and money and a lot of sacrifices to build contact, to network at Comic Cons, mainly in Europe. But when this virus thing is over, I hope to get to the US as well. I don't know how that will happen in the future, but I have hope. So
yes,
I hope to do that sometime soon. And in the end, I was like, well, I never say that I won't have like an official education for writing.
Right.
If I want to take myself and my profession more seriously. But generally in Hungary, I'm not really a big fan of ordinary education,
right,
like general education and universities or even high school and stuff like that. I'm always interested in the more sorry, I don't remember the word. There's a really perfect word for that. It's like a non-ordinary education, but
non-conventional.
Unconventional,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
Or like yeah, you know what I mean.
Yes.
So to me, when we go to, because we usually go to schools for like workshops and a panel to do panels, and I always see those kids in those kids' eyes that they enjoy it much more than a regular language class or a regular arts and crafts class,
right,
or something like that, because they get something new, something unusual, a different point of view, and I think these I can even say 6 to 14-year-olds have a really good way of thinking and a very unusual way of viewing things in the world.
right.
And they really have good ideas and unusual perspectives and interesting ideas about almost everything.
Right. And Tomas just joined us. Welcome.
Oh, awesome. Hey.
How you doing? Welcome to Cast the Craze. So I understand, Tomas, introduce yourself first so that the audience knows who you are.
Okay, I'm Tommy, and I am coloring All Star. Should I tell more about myself?
Well, yes. So let me let Fabian in. He's in the waiting room as well, so I'm gonna admit him as well. The party is starting,
Awesome.
and then we'll introduce Fabian, and then I'll go down the row so that you can elaborate on your background.
I even have these awesome printed test printing of Tommy's colors here.
Outstanding. Hello there. So we have Steve Fabian on the show. Let's see if his audio's.
Hey.
He's connecting his audio.
Yeah, I see. That's pretty funny.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome.
Hello.
Hey.
So Milan was on. We started our conversation. Tomas just joined. I would like you to introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Steve Fabian. I'm the artist on All Star. If you guys talking about All Star, I don't know.
Yes, we're starting with your backgrounds before we go into your project. So I'm going to direct questions to each of you individually, and I'll just start with Tomas. Tell me about where you grew up, your background, your influences, and then we'll go over to Steve.
Okay. So I grew up in Hungary. I went to a bunch of different art schools here, and then I studied at the Kubert School in New Jersey from 2012 through 2015. At the end of my last year, I got my first job as a colorist with the IDW, and then I started working with Kevin Eastman, and for 4 years I colored most of his projects and covers and stuff, including like literally hundreds of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles covers and a bunch of one-shots like Inside Out featuring Leonardo and Targetar featuring Raphael. I also worked on a graphic novel adaptation of The Phantom of the Opera, which is coming out later this year. And I think that's it.
Outstanding. So, Steve, same thing for you. Background, where you grew up, your influences.
Okay. I grew up in Hungary and also in the U.S. because I was born in the U.S. My main influence, I would say, probably Star Wars. I guess when I was 4 years old,
Nice.
I kept drawing like stormtroopers and whatever, Death Star, and I was in kindergarten. And then after high school in the U.S., I attended the Kubert School back in 1993 because I'm much older than Tomas or Tommy or Tom. I don't know how you guys call him now. After that, I kind of didn't draw that much. After the Kubert School, I kind of got sick of drawing, and the whole comic book business and the whole thing collapsed back in 95, 96. It imploded, and I couldn't really get a job. I mean, all the small companies just closed down, and Marvel and DC and Image, they just told me that, seeing my samples, that you should try to draw like Jim Lee, you should try to draw like Rob Liefeld, you should try to draw like the Image guys. And I was like, fuck that, I'm not gonna draw like that. So I basically didn't draw anything for 10 years almost. And then finally in 1999 or 2000, I moved back to Hungary. And then in Hungary, after a couple of years, I just started to draw again. And after a few years, I drew some anthologies, and then back in 2011, I got a gig doing this indie comic called Dark Age, which was a historical fantasy comic, and I actually drew that for 6 years. It's the first 6 issues of that. It's on Comixology actually. It's available, but after 12 issues, it just basically just the whole thing just folded, and then ever since then I just doing self-publishing with Milan. basically just drawing my own stuff and doing illustrations for a couple of magazines, and that's about it. I'm not even trying to get a job at the major companies. I'm too old for that. I'm just the deadlines and stuff. It's not for me anymore.
Right. Okay.
I see Milan is laying down and sleeping.
It's like
Nice double chin, Milan.
Nice double chin. Nice.
Thank you. I can see myself as well.
Jump ball.
Outstanding. Outstanding. So, Milan, how did you connect with your creative team?
Well, that's an interesting thing with Steve. I met him, I think, in 2011 at it's called Hunger Comics or Hunger Comics, a December event in Hungary. It's in Budapest, the capital, and it's still being held. Although I'm not sure for this year, but it was held for a lot of years until now, and we met there because he was just promoting the zero issue of Dark Age, the comic he mentioned.
Right.
And I was there as a fan because it was just 2011. I wasn't really interested in doing any comics yet. So I was there as a fan, and I still remember Fabe, how grumpy he looked. And my father and my younger brother was there as well. And Fabe wasn't even looking up when he was greeting us, because I don't think he was being rude. He was just, in a way, he wasn't used to being kind of famous or anything like that. And there was a literal queue for him, because this was a big promotion event for Dark Age, the zero issue. And there were these hostess girls wearing almost nothing, stuff like that. There was a big, kind of big Hungarian celebrity there who was trying to promote the book, and he was always escorting these girls here and there. It was actually ridiculous, but at the time it seemed cool. So
Nice.
It was a fun experience, and that's where we met first. He reluctantly drew me a sketch on a comic book backing board, a small one, and he told me when he accepted that now you should just go away somewhere and come back in like half an hour, and I'll do your sketch back by then. I was like, oh, okay. So that was strange, but in the end he did the sketch, and it was awesome, and I still have it dated here in a portfolio. And funny thing, and this is the last sentence because I can talk about this for hours, is not long after that I bought a pinup from Dark Age, the two main characters called the shaman called Idar, and I don't remember the English name of the kid. Do you remember?
I don't remember either.
Me either. It was I don't know, and his protege, the kid, and I bought that pinup straight from Fabe in Budapest. Not long after that, and I still remember that he was so hesitant to give me that piece of art, even though I think I paid good money for it. It was like, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit too cheap. I was like, but you said the price. I was like, okay, I'll do that. And I still have that one on my main wall in the room, in my bedroom. So that's how it started for me. with Tommy, it was a little bit different because I think he was already living.
Because he was nice to you, or what?
Sorry.
Tommy was nice to you.
Yeah,
That's how it was
kinda.
different.
I was at least making an effort.
Anyway, it's a really short story. I was reading a Ninja Turtles book, and I opened it, and it's like there was a Hungarian name on it in the credit, and it said cover colorist. I was like, okay, but this is a Hungarian guy, and I started to go back in time, and then I just I think I found you on Facebook, I think. And I just
Maybe, I don't know.
I just sent a private message to Tommy, who wasn't even adding me as a friend for at least a year, I think.
I'm a very
but he was
private person. Thank you for respecting my boundaries.
Of course,
Nice.
it wasn't anything against you. It was just strange at first, but it worked out in the end, I think.
I didn't know if you were a creep or not. There are really weird people contacting us online.
Nice.
Yeah, really weird double-chinned people. But I didn't look like this back then, so.
So now, Tommy, you connect with Milan, and I guess he's pitching a project to you. What was your thoughts? How did that?
Well, I kind of came into this project gradually because a couple of years ago we just started talking with Milan, and I knew that he was self-publishing a bunch of smaller books, and I don't even know how it started. I think it started with another book called Gotham, which was a Batman parody that he was doing, and he tried to do this gimmick that he wanted to have at least 15 covers for the first issue, done by a bunch of different people. So
Ambitious.
He asked me to draw a cover for that issue, and I ended up doing two different drawings. One of them ended up being on the label for a craft beer that he was working on, and so basically that beer was the name was a pun. It was called Barley Quinn. So basically, I drew Harley as a Bavarian waitress for the label, and I'm really proud of that drawing, and he's never ever getting it from me, even though I promised to give it to him like 3 years ago. Anyway, so I drew a couple of those drawings for him, and then last year, about a year ago, they published All Star in black and white, and he asked me to color the cover. And then this year he did the Kickstarter campaign, and basically it worked out really well for me because I colored the cover. I was the first choice to do the interiors, and because the art was already done, most of the money from the Kickstarter is going into my pocket. So yeah, I'm the biggest winner of this story.
Nice. So, Steve, you're the artist on the book, and so I know for artists, a lot of it, the creativity comes from being inspired. So, what was it about the project that inspired you?
Well, this was the very first superhero comic I ever drew. Actually, I never drew a super. I was never a big fan of drawing like big muscle guys and flying around and all that superhero stuff. And I was mostly always drawing fantasy, sci-fi, fantasy, and maybe a historical comics I preferred. And Milan came up with this idea of let's do a Hungarian / could be international, I guess, but a Hungarian superhero. And I was like, okay, let's do it. I mean, there's no Hungarian superhero books anyway. I mean, and they're not really available, and even a few they had, it wasn't really good. I think ours is obviously superior to all the other ones. Okay.
I agree.
But basically most of the people in Hungarian comic book community already hates me, so it doesn't matter what I say. But anyway, and I just got out of I just finished the Dark Age project. I was like sort of like no paying art jobs, and I was like in Milan, just came up with this that there was actually a paying job, so it wasn't like a typical. Like in the indie comic and the writer, asks you to, draw this comic book, and then after we publish it, we might get paid for it,
Right.
We actually got paid like almost like advanced, and then Milan could talk about how he got paid because it's that kind of long story. Because
we already talked about that
okay.
just prior to show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, and Milan came up with this idea. Well, that's the superhero comic book. And I was like, okay, that's of course, I didn't know it was so many kids I have to draw, and like drawing schools and like children and classrooms and all the stuff I hate. To draw, basically. It's not that I hate to draw. It's hard to draw.
Right.
Basically, I'm more used to drawing aliens and like monsters and that kind of stuff. But anyway, I think it turned out pretty good. I look at sometimes even just a couple of days ago, I looked through other pages and I was like, wow, it's pretty good stuff. Because I usually hate my stuff next day. I erase everything. I use a whiteout. I white out all the faces, and then I'm not really a fan of my own work. And I think in the last few jobs I did. There's another comic I did, a self-publishing comic book called a very short 16-page sci-fi comic called White Meat, and even that's pretty good. Like art-wise, I'm even years after that I would say it looks pretty good. I mean, it's not bad, and the last few issues of Dark Age was pretty good actually. The first few issues of Dark Age I was like still learning to draw a comic book, because in school basically we just had projects of drawing like a 3 or 4 page comic. I never actually done a full-blown 22 page comic, so it was a learning curve, and I have no idea what I have to talk about now.
Right, so I'm just going to go back to what you said earlier. You said that you don't want to work for a mainstream company because
I'm not, no. I think it's a competition. It's just, even back then it was a big competition, and now I think it's even harder. I mean, Marvel and Dark Horse and DC and whatever other big companies are, basically, they don't even use inkers anymore. They just use, just called artists, like people actually use really dark photocopies of pencils. They don't even ink their stuff anymore, or if maybe they ink their own stuff, and then I think it's basically just to be less expensive to make the comic, and I think the competition is so big now with all the Marvel movies came out the last 10 years, and all the superhero stuff got really popular. I think it's just so many artists out there. From South America and then from Asia that they work really good artists, and they work basically for half a price of what I would ask for, and they won't even hire me probably.
Right. So what is it about the timeline to produce this comic book that appeals to you? Because I know you said something about you don't like deadlines.
Well, deadlines. I can draw. Actually, I can actually draw fast if there's a deadline, and it's and if it's important and I'm getting paid for it, I can draw fast. Even in school, Jose Devo used to call me. He was an Argentinian artist. He's still alive actually. He lives in Miami, and he gave me a nickname, Too Fast. He always called me Too Fast because I did all the homework assignments. Like I sketched instead of doing like full type pencils. I basically just did like mostly like breakdowns, and I never really finished the pencils. And he always told me like, it looks too fast. It looks too fast. And so he called me Too Fast. And so I can draw fast, but I know there's like, from what I heard, there's only for a pencil it gets 21 days to draw, or 22 days to draw. A 22-page comic book, and if you're late, then you're getting blackballed. You get on a blacklist if you ever delay a book. So and I don't know. I just maybe I'm just too scared of the deadline or too scared of everything. I don't know. I'm just. I wish I could be like Jim Lee, just draw colors for the rest of my life, basically.
There you go.
A color a month. I get paid like I'm sure he gets paid for a color like some people get paid for 5 issues.
He pays himself.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I wish I could just draw. Actually, I'm pretty good with colors. The older I get, the more I like to draw big, like dynamic, big stuff, like posters and maybe because my eyes are getting bad and I can't hardly see the panels anymore.
Right. So, Milan, tell me about the premise for All Star.
Uh-oh.
I should do it now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
sure.
Yes. I like because I think we segued to now. Let's talk about your property, and I'd like to the others to know about the premise.
So, All Star and all its characters are co-created by me and Steve Fabian, because from the very beginning we settled on a kind of Marvel way of scripting the story, which meant if you're not familiar, I'm
yes,
sure
it's basically like outlining it. Yes.
Mm-hmm. If the viewers are not familiar, it's like a kind of like okay. So sometimes I only use the 1 or 2 sentences for a whole page,
right?
Because Steve asked me to be as brief as possible, right. So he would have more freedom, more creativity in creating the characters, the scenes, the backgrounds, and stuff like that. And even the character designs were done in a few days. It wasn't like a back and forth thing like usually in an indie or like a mainstream publisher character designs. Like, okay, so you have to change this bit and that bit, and you have to remove this or that. It was like Fabe sent me a picture of All Star, and I was like, okay, this is perfect. This is a superhero. This is what we wanted. This is perfect. And when we settled for the main villains in the comic, or now I can say graphic novel, I was like, okay, this is the outline. This is how the character looks. This is what he or she thinks. This is what they're known for, and he was like immediately sending me back stuff, and we only changed. We only changed like the eyes, the hair color, or stuff like that. And everything was done at the first draft. Not the writing though, because we didn't really have deadlines in the usual meaning of the word. But we had these semi deadlines, like 1/3 into the comic we got paid, and 2/3 we got paid a little more, and at the end we got paid for the whole thing. And somehow they paid the writer and the artist separately. I'll never know why they did that, but we had some problems with those things because Fabe was doing this full time, and he also needed to stay alive, to eat and drink and pay for everything. So sometimes it wasn't easy, but in the end we managed to do it. And the main story of the main story is there's this guy in early high school, so he's like a freshman in high school, called Jimmy Hand. That's his nickname, and Hand is his family name. That's his real name. James Hand, but everyone calls him Jimmy. And he's new at the school. He doesn't know anybody, and he's a shy guy. He has this kind of I don't know, affection for a girl who's called Julie, but he never really likes. He never really has time or the courage to even say anything to her. And after a small period of time, he gets bullied by his classmates and his teachers alike, which is a very real thing, sadly. And since it's a kind of, in a way, autobiographical graphic novel, I took some life moments from my own, and some of these things actually happened to me in the same way, only or in a slightly different way, or with guys and girls I know from primary school or high school, and he just can't take it anymore. So that's why he decides to do these adventures. He had adventures in the most negative way. He has in school, or I don't know, on the way back home or stuff like that. He puts them in a comic book, and this comic book is going to be really important in the story, because he starts drawing all these depression, all the depression he has. All the bullies in the book are villains, and he comes up with this character with the silly name called All-Star, which comes from actually Grant Morrison, Frank Whiteley book called All-Star Superman, which is as silly as it gets. Who's who's a superhero and is called the All-Star Nobody, but he's a 14-year-old kid, so he comes up with this silly name. And he comes up with these silly names for the villains, like Princess Monaco, who's that? She's a centaur with horse legs and stuff like that, and she's practically a military woman or something like that. And there's Coach Bob, whose alter ego in his comic is the Beast of Balaton. Balaton is the biggest lake in Hungary, so we kind of want to do a little bit of local culture as well. And everyone has these alter egos, and at the end, I don't want to spoil anything, but I can always say that in the end, you as a reader have to decide if anything was real ever, or if it was all fiction and it was all in Jimmy's brain or Jimmy's head. But you have to decide that for yourself. It's meta like that. It's meta that way, because otherwise you'll just read the comic and say, okay, I don't understand anything.
Right.
You have to think about what's happening on the pages. It's not a usual DC Marvel superhero book where you start from page 1 and 5 minutes later you're at page 22.
Right. Okay. So, Steve, what was the creative process like for both of you when you were fleshing out the ideas and throwing ideas back and forth?
As Milan said, it was the Marvel way, because in Dark Age, the co-writer of Dark Age, a guy was doing the script. I can actually write a comic book. I can lay out stuff and actually write, a story with pictures. But I have problem with scripting, people talking, what the stuff goes in the bubbles.
Right.
Actually, even Mike Mignola had the same problem, and he did the first few issues of Hellboy. He asked John Byrne to do the scripting because he was uncomfortable with the scripts he was writing. So I'm the same way with scripting. I'm not comfortable with doing my own scripts. So basically, in the Dark Age, the guy who was a writer, he just basically I remember he was traveling to a European country. He was at the airport. And I was like, okay. And I basically just asked him like, okay, we have to do issue 2. So what issue 2 should be about? And while he was at the airport, he wrote me like maybe like five sentences that what he wants to see in an issue. And I basically drew the whole 22 pages in the next 6 weeks. And he just after he received the artwork, he just did the strip after my art. I sometimes showed him, obviously I kept showing him the pages and everything, but he had confidence in me. So I was, and I mean, Milan, it was the same thing. He was telling more stuff, of course, because I think he wanted more control than, like he didn't want me to, stray to, do all kind of stuff, my own, it basically was a 50-50 effort. And, he just told me like, and on this page, I want to see, this and that. And I he didn't tell me like how many panels. He didn't tell me what kind of panels. He didn't do me small little layouts. How writers sometimes do that, which is kind of annoying. And I just did it, and he liked it, thankfully. I can say that I'm, without being like an asshole, that I can tell a story, basically. I'm old enough now. I can actually do that. I've been doing this for the last 12, 15 years. I can still. Sometimes I have some problems, but even now I have some problems drawing. I'm in a sort of like I kind of I have a small burnout right now, and but I forgot what I was supposed to answer. But the creative process was basically he gave me some stuff to draw. I drew it, and he said, okay. Sometimes he like the last few pages. I think I did a page. He told me about this, how the main character, the boy, and his fantasy girl, I think it was a fantasy girl. How they should be like kind of like a romantic scene, like sitting down or laying down in a, watching the skyline of the city, at nighttime. And I did the first one, and he was like, "Oh, okay, I don't like this one. Do another one when they're laying down in the grass." And I said, "Okay, after a couple of days of fighting, I actually did it." And but thankfully the first version I did, it was actually what became the back cover of the. So it wasn't a waste of days. So actually. Tommy actually inked that piece, and he colored it, and it was become a promotional piece and also back cover. So that's basically it. Sorry, it was a bunch of rambling. I think we should let Tommy talk now. I think he's falling asleep.
No, so he was my next question. So Tommy, what you received the book, and you're tasked with coloring it. How do you determine the palettes that you're going to use and the style of coloring you're going to apply?
Well, it's an interesting question because I come in at the end of the assembly line, so a lot of things are decided before I get to work on them. So in this case, it's interesting because usually I never see the whole issue drawn before I start coloring it. Usually I just get 1 or 2 pages at a time. I work. I'm always just one step behind the artist, but here the black and white edition came out last year. So I colored the cover, and so we could experiment a little bit on that. We could pick the mood and some of the colors for it that I can follow now that I'm working on the interiors. And like Milan said, there's shift in the book between what's real and what's in the fantasy world,
right.
Which in my understanding is basically our protagonist's coping mechanism. There are a bunch of times in the book where something happens to him and he basically just drifts off into this fantasy world where he kind of has a Shazam thing going on. He's this little kid who turns himself into a superhero, but here it's a coping mechanism. He translates all of his experiences into these fantastic battles and larger than life events and characters. So what I'm trying to do is I am trying to make all the fantasy stuff really colorful. It's really flashy. This is where something bad that happens to our protagonist, something that he can't really fight in real life, turns into something that he can control, where he becomes a superhero. So that's the big colorful stuff. And the real life scenes, I try to make a little more bland, I guess. So it's a little bit more muted, a little bit more depressing, because I want the reader to feel the shift in the mood. So I'm trying to pick more muted colors for the real life scenes, because I think that just feels a little more depressing, and also the kid deals with a lot of anxiety because of the bullying and the stuff that happens to him both at school and at home, and so I tend to go for darker colors because I feel like the real world is a little bit threatening in this story, while all the escapist stuff is a bit more fun.
Outstanding. So now you guys had a successful Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And congratulations. And so who was the gatekeeper of the Kickstarter, and how did you determine the levels based on the donations?
So this Kickstarter campaign was like at least 3 months preparation, and not sleeping properly for 3 months was exhausting. And it was basically a one-man show in the way everybody helped a little bit. I mean, Tommy and Steve, and all the variant cover artists, all the pinup artists, everyone on our Hungarian small publisher team had something to add, and they did wonderful variant covers, and they helped me with everything. But to build a project like this, I somehow read after I launched it, I somehow somewhere I read it that usually a project like this takes 6 months, half a year to be prepared, to have enough promotion for the launch, so that you get funded in the first few hours or the first few days or the first week. And in that way, we had a little bit of luck, because like I mentioned in the beginning, that I go to conventions. I went to conventions for the last, I don't know, I've been going there to the UK, to Europe, other European countries for at least 10 years. And I know a lot of real life creators, like, for example, Frank Whiteley. I can call him a friend. And he is one of the biggest, in my opinion, one of the biggest and best living comic book artists and illustrators of our time. And it's good to know these guys. I mean, I got anything from him. I mean, he's not really active on any kind of social media or anything, but he encouraged me with his words, and he answered my emails, and he tried to figure out the riddles in the book and stuff like that, and that gave me a lot of energy. But for example, there is Geraldo Borges, who from the very beginning was supporting us, and he did a variant cover in the 0 minutes. I mean, before we even started on the actual pages, he did a variant cover based on Steve's character design, and that's amazing. And now he's an artist at DC, at Marvel. He has his own publishing company, and he draws his own stuff. He co-scripts with other South American comic creators.
Right.
He teaches children and stuff like that. So he's amazing. And there's a bunch of other artists like Noel Tuazon or Jean-Paul Chuka, who's whose descendants are also from Hungary, and they live in Canada. I never met either of them in person. I know them only from Instagram, Facebook, and their works, their published works, and they did very, very detailed, very nice, totally top-notch variant covers. Jean-Paul Chuka even colored himself. So these are the things I think worked well in the campaign. And as for the rewards, I'm an original art collector in comic pages, sketches, and commissions. So I try to appeal for the like-minded people, other art collectors like myself. And I think that worked out really well as well, because in the first, I don't even remember, 3 or 4 hours at the very beginning, 4 hours after the launch, we had a 60% fund of the 1,500 UK pounds, because all the collector friends of mine were really interested in Steve's, and Tommy wasn't even offered back then. So only Steve's art, they were really interested in Steve's art, because nobody knew him, and they saw the sample pages, saw the sample commissions, and they were all like, okay, where was this guy for the last, I don't know how many years? why don't I know his art? And then, of course, we had all these other Hungarian and international artists to help in this campaign, like Vasilis Goftas from Greece, or a lot of Hungarian illustrators like Robert Odegnal. He's a filmmaker, a director, a comic book writer and artist. So he's like a pretty big name in Hungary. He's also a concept artist, and we had all these guys doing variant covers. We had all these original art levels. And in the middle of the campaign, I came up with the obvious thing as the T-shirt. It's a must. I'm actually wearing one. This was the first design. This was penciled by Faith and inked and colored by Tommy. So things like this, you always have to come up with new ideas throughout the campaign for a whole 30-day amount. But before you start the campaign, you have to build a little bit of, not just a little bit, a huge interest.
Yes.
And a huge anticipation that people feel like they need to jump on this. They want to be a part of this. And during the campaign and in the last 1 week, I received a lot of messages through Kickstarter, and they were telling me about their stories. Like there was this one guy, I won't name him because I might not even remember his full name, but he wrote me that he had the similar experience as I did as a child. He had to go to the hospital a lot of time, too often to bear it, and he found his I don't know, his inspiration in comics and graphic novels.
Outstanding.
And he was reminded of this by this campaign, and I was like, I started shivering. It's like there is another guy like me in the world, and I think he's from the U.S. So it's on the other side of the earth, the globe. So for me, that's very inspiring. And he took the time to write this to me, and this was just one guy. I read the last week. I mean, it's like this week and the half of last week. I received like 10 of these stories from our 120 backers. And it was inspiring, and I constantly felt like I need to give something more, something better, a better graphic novel in the end. And that's why, in the end, from 44 pages, with two really big stretch goals, we reached plus 8 extra pages for the campaign, which means it clocked in at 52 pages total, which is, to me, is really, really impressive. And we can only thank the backers, the Kickstarter donors.
Outstanding. So, as we prepare to close the show, I'd like to just go around and for each of you, why should the consumer pick up your book? Where can they pick up their book? And how can they reach you? So we'll just go around the room. We'll start with Steve, and we'll go clockwise.
Well, you should pick up this book because it was a hard 6 months of work. I think it's a pretty good story, pretty good art, and probably not that expensive. And I have no idea how we're gonna distribute this book. I mean, Milan could probably answer that, how it's going to be available. I think by January, Milan wants to do his own website, I think. So maybe it's going to be available online. You can basically buy it online. I'm not sure if it's going to be available on a Comixology or some digital versions. I prefer not to have a digital version because they usually get bootleg right away. So I'm not a big fan of the digital comics. But I think it's a good comic book. I think it's not the usual stuff. I think it's basically about a very troubled, almost kind of not mentally ill, but kind of like mental kid. And I think a lot of people a lot of geek people like I was, and a lot of people who were comic book geeks, they can relate to this. So basically, this is my advice. And then over to Tom. Or Milan, I guess.
So let's go to Tommy.
No, I guess Tommy. Yeah.
Yes, Tommy.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank everyone who supported us. Maybe some of you are listening in, so we are really grateful. And I think we are all a little bit low energy right now because the campaign just ended last night, and I think everyone's kind of pooped because it was a month-long marathon with the campaign. But I think even if it doesn't really show, we are all super happy and excited that we got 200% at the end of the campaign. And I think that the book was published last year in black and white, but now it's going to be expanded with a bunch of pages. And it's going to be in color. So this is going to be the best version of the book, and we all are giving it our best. I think it's going to be a good-looking book, and I think a lot of people are going to find something in it that they can connect with. Unfortunately, too many comic readers can relate to being bullied or being unhappy at home or at school, and I think for most of us, comics became a way to escape that, and they just became a source of fun even when we weren't super happy. And I hope that this book is going to provide that to some of our readers. So I hope they're going to enjoy it.
Okay, Milan.
Thank you. So thank you very much for listening to us. And I just one note about the main character. So Jimmy is a slow learner, and he has all these problems like depression, anxiety, and stuff like that, and the general shyness. So in a way, we can always relate to him. Almost anybody can relate to him as a comic fan. So the comic is the graphic novel is gonna be available to buy for regular buyers as well, because we plan to print a lot more, especially in English, of course. It's gonna come out separately in Hungarian as well. But we are just in the middle of setting up our website. At allstarcomics.com, which was the same redirect URL for the Kickstarter campaign. So everyone who found us through that domain will find us. Will find the web shop through that domain. That's our idea, and there will be a very easy to use web shop. You can pay by PayPal or whatever credit card. And there's gonna be what's it called? I think it's called Pledge Box, Pledge Box,
Yes.
or something, Pledger Box.
Mm-hmm.
There's this website, and that's for after campaign ends, a successful campaign ends, you can still add add-ons like T-shirts, like stickers, like another book or a variant cover and stuff like that. After the campaign as well. We are going to introduce that, I think, this week to our backers, and to my knowledge, new backers can also join there. So if anyone decides to help us get even more funded, even though the campaign lasts at 200%, they can still do that.
Outstanding. Well, gentlemen, this has been a great show. I really do wish you guys much success with your book and the release. And it sounds amazing. It sounds relatable. I think we all can say that the world needs less bullies and more creatives. So thank you guys so much. Again, you have an Instagram page as well that people can reach you on?
Yes, the simplest one is my name. It's instagram.com per Milan Kovac.
Yes. I'll have all that information for the viewers on the YouTube channel when we post it. So again, thank you guys so much. Wish you all much success in your future endeavors, and looking forward to see the popularity grow in All Star. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So now we're back.
All right. Wow.
So as you can see, the name of the show is Can I Kick It? Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
So
That was good, man.
these
That was
guys, between JD Calderon, between All Star Comics, you have two different independents that found a successful formula. We're hoping to be able to mimic that and ride that wave. We're hoping that they pass on that positive mojo to us.
good. Hell yeah.
But very impressed by the creative team. They have great camaraderie. You can tell the three different personalities. You have the sensible politician leader who keeps everybody moving. Then you have the angry creator who doesn't have time for anybody but's very talented. Then you have the colorist who's also an artist
awesome.
who tries to avoid the drama and just loves the craft. It was just funny just to listen to these guys and watch the banter between them two, with the three of them.
Yeah.
We had some audio problems here and there, but we made it through it. But I wish them nothing but success. Obviously, they have a good following, and they have some professionals that support them, which is
Absolutely.
really good.
That's awesome.
So definitely took a lot of amazing, good takeaways from that conversation. I took notes because, this is a journey for all of us, and I learned from every one of our guests. I swear to you right now, every single one of our guests, I learned something. I take something away. And I took something away from these guys. And again, I wish you guys All-Star Comics. I wish you guys nothing but success, and keep doing what you're doing. And thank you for being on Catch the Craze.
There it is. There it is. Amen, man. Amen. Well, guys, this was a show chock full of information.
Chock full of nuts is that heavenly coffee. Remember that?
I hope you enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed it. Learned as much as I've learned from this show. Thank you, guys. Remember, Kickstarter, September 26th. We need you. Patreon is on now. And next week, we'll do it again.
We'll do it again. And again, I'm Sam the Crazy Man Vera. Our Kickstarter starts soon, but our Patreon is up live right now. It's patreon.com/Catch the Craze. Thank you so much. Remember to hit that bell. Never miss an episode. We are all over the place. You can listen to us on the go or watch us every show. So thank you so much. I'm Sam the Crazy Man Vera.
Poet.
Yes, I know.
George the Dreamer Medina.
And we is out.
It's just easy. It's not.
Crazy.
Acquiesce. No, I was talking about my friend Acquiesce. I meant
Say my name, say my name.
right? This is what you were thinking? Oh my God. He was grabbing. He said, I'm the what?
Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. To Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze on Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.
Candy girl.